Grammy-nominated rapper Jeezy. His new album, Church in These Streets, is out on Friday. We welcome you to the desk. So appreciate you being with us. Thank you.
Oh, good. I appreciate
Thank you. So you have continued to evolve as an artist and really use your voice and platform to speak out on political and social issues. So we want to get your thoughts on these Missouri football players who obviously banded together peacefully, protesting, and now their president has resigned, their chancellor stepped down because they, turned a blind eye to a lot of racial discrimination occurring on the campus. What are your thoughts on that and the power of athletes and celebrities in their voices?
I mean, I think they led by a perfect example. They, obviously, football is a big deal there. So for them to band together and even decide to do that, I mean, I think it showed excellent leadership, if you ask me. Because that's a big deal, especially for the school. And for him to step down, I mean, it definitely showed that he was a bigger man and he took notice, you know what I mean? Because obviously it was going to cause a problem. You got students and people that are paying for their kids to go to college. You got these racial issues going on, and you got a president that's letting them happen. So at the same time, for him to step down, I think, that was the right thing to do.
When you think about the football players getting themselves actively involved and them being college students, any thoughts come through your mind about what lessons professional athletes should take from this particular situation, if anything at all?
I recall something happening. Was it the thing that happened with the guy that actually owned the Clippers and LeBron and
Donald Sterling?
Yeah, and LeBron and them, started to step up. And, maybe that was something that even encouraged them to feel that they had that much power. Because sometimes, just as an athlete or entertainer, sometimes you don't actually understand the power that you have until, the situation presents itself. So for them to be college kids, I mean, it's 1,000 other things that they could be thinking about. And for them to band together for that type of cause, I just think, it had to start somewhere. And maybe what LeBron then was about to do, let them know that, this is something that we could do together. You know what I mean? So to me, that was a big move. I'm quite sure, their parents and the school was very proud of him. Not the president, though. He's
Yeah.
Well said.
He can't be happy.
Go one level deeper with this.
Okay.
I followed your career closely from Thug Motivation 101 up to Political Correct. I've listened to all of it. I like it all. I tell you, from my heart, I highly respect your creative genius. Sometimes I'm unsure what ultimate message you want to convey through your lyrics to your fans. Sometimes you say violence is not the means to the end to bring about change. And sometimes it comes across to me as by whatever means necessary to bring about change. Put that in perspective for us.
Okay, well, two things. The first thing is, if you ever hear me talking about anything that has anything to do with any violence, it's more of a defensive position. You good with sports, so So it's not offensive. It's not me saying, hey, look, I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna do this to this person. It's saying no different than an officer or soldier, or anybody that's at war. It's like, I gotta protect myself, I gotta protect my loved ones, I gotta protect my family, and I'm willing to do so because I was raised to be a man, you know what I'm saying? So that's one take, and as far as the message, you gotta evolve. Thug Motivation, believe me, I was really thugging.
I got it. It comes across,
It was some thugging going on.
Yeah.
But that thugging, was my past, and that's the only thing that I had that I could actually pull from and tell, people what was really going on, you know what I'm saying? And when I learned that was when I used to write this young lady poems in school that I was trying to talk to, and I could never get her to go on a date, but my words changed the situation.
There you go.
So as I got into music, I started seeing my words change people's lives, and that's what made me, just kind of go harder. But that was one step of it. But so if you go from Thug Motivation all the way to Church in These Streets, that's the evolution of Jeezy, and I'm gonna continue to evolve. So, when you're a leader, you have to lead. You know what I mean? So I can only tell you what I know. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know a lot about sports. I don't know a lot about fixing cars or building houses, but I can tell you about life because I actually had a chance to live it.
You have.
So when you hear that, that's what you hear.
I like that.
Yeah.
What's the message in Church in These Streets? Sorry, Stephen A.
I mean, Church in These Streets was basically, my grandmother raised me to be, Baptist, go to church, Sunday school, had the Easter speech, everything. But that's the only thing that really kept me balanced. You You know what I mean? As a human being, as a man, as a person. You know what I mean? As a father. And you know, I just think sometimes we kind of forget that. So, you know, when you go to church and it sounds like the preacher is talking to you, maybe he is. And it's like when you come to my shows and I'm talking and you see the expression on these people's face, it's not just a rap concert. It's not, they're not here to be entertained. They're not here for the hieroglyphics or anything. They're here to hear how you feel about certain situations. And then when you tell them that, you know, you can walk off the stage and have somebody say, hey, man, you changed my life. So to me, it's like a small church. You know, I know it's kind of crazy to say that, but it's what it really is. And when you're sitting there and you're watching these people and, you know, you say certain things and they light up, it's no different than sitting in, you know, church in the back row and saying he's talking about me today. That's true. You know what I mean? So that's my take on it.
You brought up about how when, you know, Thug Nation came out, you was talking about how you were thugging, you were really motivation. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You was talking about how, you know, you had to be that way. What I'm wondering about is sometimes I see a lot of cats out there who are trying to be something that they're not.
Right.
They're trying to act like it's something that they had to do when in fact they didn't.
Right.
I want to know, as somebody in this game, do you see a lot of that? Do you see a lot of wannabes, a lot of perpetrators, a lot of individuals that are using folks like yourself and others who had to do what you had to do as an excuse to justify what they're doing when they didn't have to do it?
Absolutely. And you got to understand.
What do you say to them?
To me, it's real life, but when it becomes a business and it becomes lucrative and you're able to make money by emulating what somebody else has been through, people jump on that. It's no different from, you know, you just seen a Straight Outta Compton movie that just came out. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That was about a lifestyle. You know, Dr. Dre and all those guys really went through that, but somebody thought that it could be valuable if they put it in a movie form. So somebody got actually paid off of whatever they went through. You know, Jeezy is no longer here and all those things. But I just think, you know, with this culture, when people see a chance to make money, they go at it. But I have no problem with that personally because I feel like if they're in the studio and they're on the road and they're making records, that's less people that are getting killed in the neighborhoods and being robbed or whatever, because now you're creating these ways for these young entrepreneurs to make these millions of dollars and they actually getting employees and, you know, taking care of people that are around them and giving them jobs and situations. So it's like they're turning into small Fortune 500 companies and you really can't knock it. You know, I just stay in my lane and do what I do, but at this point, you know, it's business. You know what I mean?
So you have achieved a powerful platform, not only in the black community, but for kids everywhere.
Right.
How much responsibility do you feel? How much does that scare you? Do you sometimes wake up and say, hey, I'm just a guy, you know, I'm just me, you know?
I was talking to somebody about that the other day. I was like, you know, the difference between Kurt Cobain and Tupac is Tupac died believing and still fighting for it, and Kurt Cobain got to the point he was like, man, I can't take this anymore.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And sometimes I get caught in a, you know, rock in a hard place because it's like, am I a good guy? Yes, when it comes to me and my family and my loved ones, and will I do some crazy things and sometimes, of course, that's where I came from, but now my circle is different, you know what I mean? I talk to politicians and mayors and staples in the community, but I can still go back and hang out with my friends when I feel like it. So it's like I'm kind of like caught trying to balance it, and I'm a Libra, so that's like even crazier. So it's like, you know, I find myself sometimes like, okay, what are you doing? And I think that's what makes me me and keeps me going and keeps me like solid and humble, is because I can see both sides, and I'm like, you know, it's like you're going from being the people's champ to the city's hero. So it's good to be the people's champ. You can be the villain or anything. But when you start being the city's hero, you kind of got to watch, you know, what you do, because it's like, you know, you can do one bad thing and then everybody's like, oh man, see, he's never going to change. So it's just that, but that's what you hear in the music though. You hear somebody that wants to change and wants to do better, but at the same time, you have certain things pulling and tugging on you, and you're like, okay, well, I can't do that today. I'll try to, you know, do this, but you know, it's not easy. If that's
what's the hardest thing to shake? What's the hardest thing to shake?
Bad habits. You know, not being as open as changed as you should be. You know, I'm a businessman now, so it's different. I have real business things going on. I have tequilas and I have companies and different stuff. So it's just like what I do in my music career actually affects that as well. And it wasn't like that at first. So now that's kind of hard to shake, because it's like now I got to make sure I'm on my A game because everything could collapse now just by me speaking how I feel about certain things. You know how it go. You say the wrong lyric and then everybody's on you and all these
I know.
Right. You feel me?
Clickbait over there. Right. Yeah.
So it's just a little risky, but the thing about it, I always learn to say, man, to myself, is just like, stay true to you, man. It's like, you can't fail that way, you know what I mean? If you can get up and look at yourself in the mirror in the morning and know you're doing all you got to do to be better and to evolve and to continue to be productive, that's all you really can do, because nobody's perfect. And when you get in that, when you're trying to be perfect, you're already losing.
Yeah.
So was part of your evolution, your maturity, your new wisdom, dropping the young from Jeezy? Was that part of it?
Absolutely. By the way, that saved you some more years and money too, just so you know.
Okay, I got it.
You're right. So we'll put young, you feel me? It's just something I decided to do. When I jumped off the porch and I started doing my thing, that was it. Young this, young that, Lil Wayne, this, and it was like rapper stuff. And then as I started evolving to, just a man and just started seeing things, that was just a piece of that. It's like, okay, I'm gonna drop this. And the next piece would be, to drop the Jeezy at some point and be who I am. Okay. You know what I mean? And that's just how this game works, you know what I mean?
The next step of the evolution, but how aware and grounded you are is so impressive. And I know you talked about connecting to the two different audiences. It's just impressive that you are connecting to both. I know it can be stressful, but you're reaching all those
it's like
voices.
Trying to be a Falcons fan and a Cowboys fan at the same time.
Oh, we're gonna get into that next. Save that thought. More with Jeezy after the break. We're gonna talk a little sports when we come back. Stay here. This is First Take. Rapper Jeezy is still with us. His album Church in These Streets drops on Friday. Looking forward to that. But let's talk a little NFL now. Your boy Cam's having a tremendous season in the MVP race, but obviously Andy Dalton, Tom Brady also leading their teams to perfect seasons as well. How does he stack up this year to win the MVP?
Man, he got to keep going hard. It's crazy because me and Cam actually used to have those conversations about quarterbacks, and I used to just tell him, just how it was for him to be a young black man and actually be a quarterback, you know what I'm saying, in the NFL. And I used to always just push him and just talk, but to me it just seemed like he snapped into it, like he just got extremely focused, you know what I mean? Like, he would talk about the team and just morale and everybody. I used to even tell him, like, this is a real conversation. I was like, you the team captain. You gotta keep everybody morale up. You gotta be the glue. And obviously that's what he really did, because right now he's a real leader out there on that field. He's keeping everybody together and keeping the tempo of the game up. And just for him to be that young and be able to put that together, that's crazy.
What did you used to tell him when people were getting on him earlier in his career, having a towel over his head, looking as if he was sulking? Because he clearly is, even though he's got the towel on his head still, he clearly is the leader. You see him out there smiling, having a good time, doing his thing. He has really matured into, he's exceeded expectations as far as I'm concerned based on what we're seeing him produce. But I'm wondering what you said to him during that particular moment in time where people were getting on him in his career because he didn't appear to be the kind of leader people knew he would need to be.
I definitely don't want to take his credit because he worked for it, but I was just encouraging him to get comfortable in what was going on, because he's from Atlanta, like we from Georgia, so it's like, we don't get those type of opportunities, you know what I mean? And it's just like, he's young. You know what I mean? He's young, he's coming into a lot of money, he's in a new situation. It's bigger than when he was going to school in college. It's a different focus. And I used to always tell him, like, man, that's your team. You do realize that, right? Those are your people. They're gonna do whatever you show them to do. So if you focus and you on your A game, they're gonna do the same. You can't come in the locker room and not communicate with everybody and expect them to to jail. You know what I'm saying? And not that he wasn't communicating. I'm just saying, like, you have to take the lead because you're the quarterback.
Well, when Steve Smith wasn't brought back and he ended up in Baltimore, one of the excuses they used was that it needed to be Cam's locker room, and Steve Smith was in the way. That's what we got, at least privately, from the Carolina Panthers organization. Could you tell us, is there any truth to that?
I can't gossip. You know what I'm saying? I ain't in the locker room. Okay. But I will say that what's going on with Cam now is something special. You know what I'm saying? And I seen it in his eyes the last time I saw him that he wants to win and he wants to be great. He wants to be as great as Tom Brady and everybody else, because you gotta just imagine that when you talk great quarterbacks, it's only a few. You know what I mean? And I know he wants to be one of those guys, and I think now that, you know, it's starting to come around, I only think he can get better because he got to get more comfortable. Because now he's winning and people are cheering for him, and, you know, he's this Atlanta kid, and it's just like, you know, this could be big, you know what I mean? Yeah. Especially for someone like yourself, because he's so young. He got a lot of time to grow and get better and become more experienced and, you know, all that stuff. So I'm just proud of him. I got to be real. I'm just proud because I actually seen him go from what you're talking about to where he is now. You know what I'm saying? That's a big deal.
Let's talk about Cam's division rival. You're Atlanta through and through, born and bred.
Yeah, I knew you was coming with that.
Falcons got off hot,
right.
As hot as Cam got off. And,
right.
And now they've fallen to, 6-3?
Right.
What's your gut feeling about where they're heading?
I mean, it ain't looking good. I think it's the exact opposite that's going on in that locker room. I think that, you know, the quarterback, he's a great quarterback, but I can't say he's a great leader.
Matt Ryan.
Yeah, Matt Ryan. I mean, yep. he's a good dude. You know, he's a great dude, but I just can't say he's a great.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I would agree with you.
I can't just say he can just take the team and say, hey, I'm like, you know. And by the way, like, just not even getting off the subject, I feel like Drew Brees was a great leader. Like, he get in there. I can't say his skills, but I've seen him in action. He pumped them guys up, and you know what I mean. He talked to him and he get them going. And I just feel like sometimes, you know, if you're the quarterback, you have to take the lead. You know what I mean? And you got to keep the team going. I think Atlanta is a great team, though. I mean, we always get close. We always get close. Mm-hmm. You know, I got my Super Bowl outfit picked out right now. One day. You know what I'm saying? One of these days.
Stephen A.
Well, listen. No. Oh, I didn't. I thought you wasn't finished. Skip.
No,
I'm thinking about Carolina right now.
Right.
Does Cam talk to you about any particular team he worries about within the NFC? Does he talk to you about how we've got to bring our A game because this team is a team that we have to worry about? Or does he just have a nonchalant attitude, believing that no matter who comes in his way, he's going to take it?
He's very nonchalant, man. You know, Cam just, I mean, he's just living the life right now, man. I mean, everything, you know, he's doing is just working out for him. And it's just like, you know, I don't want to compare the two, but just like, you know, up-and-coming entertainer. Once you get that light and people feel you and you feel that they feel you, like, you're unstoppable. You just, you know, you're outworking everybody. You're doing everything you're supposed to do. And I just think with him right now, he just wants it so bad that I don't think that he's even looking at everything as like an opponent. I think he's just looking at it all together, like, I got to take this. Because I never heard the words Cam Newton and Super Bowl together, and I'm hearing them. Yeah. And that to me is impressive.
You're also close with Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah, it's my guy.
When you speak with him, give us your insight into his level of frustration with the future of his New York Knicks.
I never ever heard him say anything about you know, no frustrations, but I just know that Carmelo is a Knick to heart. Like he's like the Spike Lee of that thing. Like he's you know, when you think of New York, you think of Carmelo Anthony when you think of the Knicks. And I don't think how rough it gets. I mean, I don't know personally how he feels, but I don't see him like even thinking of bailing on that team like that. Because he is New York City. And he does a lot for New York City, just even him and his wife and, you know, just that whole situation. They're like a big
power couple, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, it just makes being New York. So I see him, I mean, you know, the best thing you do is get a better team around him. You know what I mean?
Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Hold on.
I knew this was coming.
Right, he set me up, right?
Yep.
Let me tell you something, Jeezy. Let me tell you something.
Talk to me.
I love me some Carmelo Anthony. That's my man.
Right.
But I got to ask you this question. He has not ever played in an NBA Finals. He's over 30 now.
Right.
I know Lala's doing her thing. She's on Power, my favorite show with Amari Hardwick and Fitty and all of them. I love that show, okay? I know what she's doing with herself. She's got a burgeoning career. We know what Carmelo Anthony, we know he loves his money, and he's right to love his money.
Right.
He's big time. But you trying to tell me he a Knick to heart to the point where if the Knicks in the Eastern Conference are tugging back and forth at even being relevant towards making the playoffs, when you've got your future dwindling before your very eyes? Because Father Time's going to catch up.
Right.
You trying to tell me just stay with the Knicks no matter what?
I mean, look,
That's his
man,
attitude?
If it was, I'm an over loyal person, so I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I'm quite sure he has a lots of money, so I would do what, you know, me personally, I would do what came first to heart. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't see him anywhere else. You know what I mean? I don't know where he sees himself, but if I saw him on the Cavaliers, I don't know. You know what I mean? For me, you know what I mean? It's just like even like with Bron when he went back to Cleveland. You know, I know that was a personal decision. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it had a lot to do with money. I think it had a lot to being like, I want to go back and represent this team because they got me to where I was. I got my ring. I'm back now. You know, they was burning my man jerseys. Like, you know, they had to hurt his heart. You know what I mean? So, you know, you look at Carmelo, you kind of see the same thing. Like, if he goes somewhere, like, you know, where would he go to? I mean, but you might know, though.
Yes, he might, but he's not going to tell us either. Jeezy, real fast, we have to go to break. Your album comes out Friday, Church in These Streets. Give me one song to help me get up in the morning when that alarm goes off at 5 or work out too.
It's called Just Win. Just Win.
All right. First one we're going to download for sure. Thank you so much. So
Already
appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Steve.
Got it.
All right.
Great, man.
Beautiful. Appreciate it.
Up next, the second installment of the college football playoff rankings were released last night. You might be surprised by some of the moves. Notre Dame is in, but should they be? We'll react to that on the other side of the break.